Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the regular meeting of the Mayor and Board of Trustees for the Village of Burr Ridge for July 11th. Tonight, our first order of business, of course, is the Pledge of Allegiance. We are going to be led tonight by a student, a fourth grade student at Pleasantdale Elementary School named Gabriella Hinsdale. Let me repeat that name again, Gabriella Hinsdale, who lives in Burr Ridge. Per Principal Matt Vanderkar, Gabriella is an exceptional fourth grader at Pleasantdale Elementary School. She loves school and has friends at every grade level. She's a very hard worker and a great role model for other students, and her favorite subjects are reading and art. In her spare time, Gabriella has many hobbies and interests, including catching turtles, drawing, coloring, gymnastics, baking, and singing. She's also looking forward to visiting Navy Pier in Chicago Beaches this summer and loves spending time with her little sisters, Whitney and Lila. Her parents are Katie and Phil Hinsdale, and they're with us tonight, as well as her grandpa. Now, Gabriella, would you join us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Nice job, Gabriella. Thank you. We understand.
Can we go?
Yeah. Karen, may I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Francis.
Here.
Trustee Grasso. Trustee Paveza.
Here.
Trustee Bolus.
Here.
Trustee Murphy.
Here.
Trustee Schiappa.
Here.
Mayor Straub.
Here. At this time, I'd like to call on Steve Stricker for in remembrance of Tom Needham, Thomas J. Needham.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I would like to take a few moments to mark the recent passing of a longtime resident and village leader, Tom Needham, and to reflect on and celebrate his contributions to our community. Tom was a member of the Plan Commission from December of 1980 to January of 1990, a full 10 years, serving as the chairperson of the Plan Commission from December of 1985 up till his resignation in January of 1990. Tom was also a village trustee from 1995 through 1999, and for several years represented the village on the Interagency Paratransit Coordinating Council. That was from 1996 to 2001. During his years on the Plan Commission and the Village Board, Tom was involved in several key projects. First was the development of the Emerald project. Most people don't know that term anymore, but it's the Burr Ridge Corporate Park. It includes things like the County Line Square Shopping Center, residential subdivisions such as Ambriance and Chasemore. As the chairman of the Plan Commission, he was very involved in the planning and development of the Falling Water, Lake Ridge Club, Enclave, Oak Creek Club, and Arrowhead Farm subdivisions, among many others. He was also very involved in what we used to call the Walsh-Higgins development. Again, most people don't know what that term is anymore, but it includes the subdivisions such as Fieldstone, Fieldstone Club, Chestnut Hills, and the High Grove Business Park. He was very involved in the creation of the County Line Road Corridor zoning overlay. Very important part of our community. And also as chairman of the Plan Commission, he was very involved in the incorporation of the R2B zoning, the 30,000 square foot zoning category, and placing that into the zoning ordinance and comprehensive plan. Tom was a lifelong advocate for larger lot subdivisions in the village, and to this day the 30,000 square foot minimum is still the standard in Burr Ridge. And as trustee, Tom was also instrumental on the village's water committee in helping bring Lake Michigan water to the village from Bedford Park. And I know Trustee Paveza will say a few words about that. I believe it's important that we take time to reflect on past leaders such as Tom Needham that helped shape this community. Our condolences go out to his family, his wife Pat, a wife of 63 years, and his 5 children and 9 grandchildren. Now, I know there are several residents in the room this evening that knew Tom, worked with Tom, and I would like to call upon them to say a few words in remembrance. I'm going to start with former trustee Mary Lou McGurr. Mary Lou?
I may be a bit repetitive, but I did this from memory. Thank you for the opportunity for me to come tonight to honor Tom Needham. Tom was a very active member in this community for nearly 2 decades. He was a village resident for 38 years. Tom is survived by his wife Pat, married 63 years, amazing 5 children and their families. Tom cared most about his family first, and then the community, which he raised 5 children in. Their home was Burr Ridge, and he was very proud of his town. He passed this week, and with that passing, I became very sad because we will miss him. I knew Tom as a neighbor, a plan commissioner, chair of the plan commission, and a village trustee. With all that said, I started to remember some of the landmark issues he worked on to make great success stories for the village. These projects established for the village a solid foundation that we all benefit from today. Tom spent many months, nearly a year or longer, reviewing the Harvester development. There was no politics with Tom. He spent many long nights and late nights at public hearings in the Best Western meeting rooms, listening to large crowds of people concerning the whole development. He was passionate about signage. You forgot that one. He was passionate about signage, and he was very instrumental in the signage ordinance. He believed that the Plan Commission should always review signage. Lit signs was not his choice for Burr Ridge. He was very instrumental in the County Line Corridor, also the first phase of County Line Square and Ambrions. We knew it as Bridewell property, and parts of the farm were still standing when Tom moved to Burr Ridge. That property has come a long way, and Tom got to see it all. I just named a few landmark projects that Tom worked so hard for the right solutions, and he stayed involved so many years after he held positions in the village. I did receive a call from Tom about the trustees and the president getting paid. Tom did not agree with the board being paid. I do not think that any one of us could have put a price on what Tom's contributions were to this village. He was priceless. I believe Tom was instrumental in so many key decisions for zoning and everything core to this community. Today, as the current board touches issues, there's always historical review. The history should be important to the board as this village proceeds in the future. Tom listened to all public hearings, plan commission meetings, and village boards. He studied, he researched, and made independent decisions. He may not have always agreed with you, and he stood strong with his decisions and opinions, and he was not shy to share them. He taught me to respect every one of my votes. Tom was a gentleman and a scholar. It was an honor to know him and to work with him. He's part of the history of this village. We are grateful for his service to the community and for his family, allowing him to share Tom with us. Thank you, Tom. May God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Lou. I'd like to call on former trustee Dolores Cezak. I know Dolores worked with Tom for many years on the village board.
Good evening. My name is Dolores Cezak. I'm a former trustee and former resident. I knew Tom Needham for a long time, and Steve said that he went on the Plan Commission in 1980. That came about because Eldon Dumrose suggested to village president Bud Coglanese that Tom would be a good person for the Plan Commission. So he served on the Plan Commission for quite a while. I served on the Plan Commission also, but for a short time. And he served as a trustee. I think it was only one term because he had some health problems. When I went to the visitation on Friday, I was very impressed by all the pictures. And in almost all the pictures, Tom was smiling. He was a very cheerful person. And it was a pleasure to have worked with him. We had our moments of disagreement. He was forthright and I was forthright, but we were friends. he did not have the best of health the last few years. He was just 6 months older than I. He was born a few months before the stock market crash, and I was born a few months after the stock market crash. So he was 29 and I was 1930. So there were many people at the visitation, and I'm sure he was well respected by his former employees as well as village people. So I think he did a lot for the village, and it should be acknowledged. Thank you.
Thank you, Dolores. Another trustee that worked with Tom very closely was Al Paveza, and I know Al would like to say a few words.
Well, Tom and I got elected at the same time, and shortly after our election, Village President Bob Coglines gave us the job of finding out if there is any way that we can solve the water problem that we had back then. Back then, Burr Ridge had severe watering restrictions in the summer. Over the next year and a half, Tom and I spent countless evenings going over records, talking to people, and trying to develop which way would be the best way to go. And after all of these meetings and all the conjectures, Tom and I came up basically with the same conclusion: bring our own pipeline in. And I just wanted to say, right now, Burr Ridge sits in a good shape, having its own water line, and Tom Needham, as well as anybody, was instrumental in making sure that that was accomplished. Tom, in all my work with Tom, always, he had the best interests of the village at heart. God bless Tom.
Thank you. Trustee Francis?
Yes, thank you. I had the pleasure to meeting Tom first time in early 1997. Tom was one of the trustees that interviewed me for my position on the Plan Commission, and he made a recommendation to have me appointed. Just a few comments here. Tom was always available for sound, quality advice on matters of zoning and on planning. And Tom was a man that had no personal agenda with respect to the village. He always did what he thought was best for the village and what he thought was best for its residents. And thank you, Tom, for all of your help and guidance and assistance, and we'll miss you. Thank you.
Trustee Bowles?
Just wanted to say Tom was a wonderful father and husband and a human being, and he cared very deeply for this village. I've known him for 30 years. He served the residents of this village passionately and proudly for a long time. Tom will be sorely missed. His guidance and advice was invaluable. May his memory be eternal.
Anybody else? Go ahead.
Well, I did not know Tom, but I heard a lot about Tom from village officials and working with Al Paveza. And I know that what we have here now today is because of Tom's work, and he's leaving a legacy and that we're able to live in. So God bless Tom and his family, and I want to thank his family for giving Tom to the village for all those hours spent in the Plan Commission and the village. So God bless Tom and his family.
Mayor?
And nothing really more can be added than that. I think everyone shares the loss, and we certainly the village stands on the shoulders of many people that have contributed to the village, especially people like Tom who spent so much time on both the Plan Commission and the board. And he'll be sadly missed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the next section. Are there any residents who'd like to address the board this time on any other topics? Mary Lou?
I have to warn everybody, I'm Italian. I cry easily. It's just part of my emotions. I thought maybe in the beginning of this meeting you would have addressed the tragedy in Dallas. But I would like to, because we're represented here by the police department. On Friday, I was at the police station with honor call, packing up the mail for the vets that we send to Washington on Wednesday. I knocked on the lunchroom door. I was looking for Chief Mann, and he wasn't there. I was looking for you. And there was a group of officers in the room, and I thanked them. I said, you are why we are here safe and sound. And I think we could say that every day and commend them and thank them. I was in the first class of the police academy for Burr Ridge, and I remember the first comment that came from Brian DeYoung. He said, we're here to educate you, not here to punish you. Because every time you got stopped for a ticket or pulled over, you know what? He was teaching us, they're teaching us a lesson to be safe, not to hurt others. So you shouldn't get angry when a police officer pulls you over. You should thank them. And I hope everybody thanks them. Thank you.
It's actually, thank you, Mary Lou, for mentioning that. I was actually going to mention something at the end of the meeting under actual reports of communications from village officials, but probably up front is more appropriate. I was especially amazed and touched by the residents and the attendees of the concert on Friday night. Chief John Madden and I thought it would be appropriate to bring the few police officers up on stage and have a moment of silence. And I know more than said I was going to introduce the police officers when all the attendees, over 1,000, started clapping and rose to their feet and gave a standing ovation that must have lasted 5 minutes, an appreciation to them in recognition for the absolute atrocity and crisis and tragedy that happened in Dallas. And I think an overall love and support for all police officers everywhere. And the moment of silence was far more than a moment. I think so many of us were just choked up and couldn't believe it. And I was just so appreciative of the love and support that was shown. But well done.
Hey guys, my name is Bill Hinsdale. I'm here for selfish reasons because my granddaughter did the Pledge of Allegiance. So I believe in time management. I stayed a few extra minutes just to say a few words. I've been a happy resident here for 30 years. And I want to thank everybody that's helped me, particularly my neighbors, Al and Guy. We've had a great relationship for many years. The few times we had a few questions, we always ironed them out very positively, never any serious issues. I also want to thank the police officers in this town too. The few times I've had to talk to somebody, they were very respectful and very honest. There was a female officer a few weeks ago. I'm probably one of the million people in Illinois that doesn't get a sticker reminder in the mail. And it was a Saturday around maybe June 1st or 2nd, right outside here. And she pulled me over and I said, what the heck is going on here? And she goes, hi sir, your license is expired, your sticker's expired by a couple of days. And she was right. She was very nice. She gave me I don't remember, it was a verbal warning, maybe it was a piece of paper, but the only place I know to get a sticker on a Saturday close by here is at the Western Springs Bank. So that's where I went. And got there before noontime, got my sticker, and that was the end of the story. But again, she was very polite, and I want to thank her for that. And all my dealings in Burr Ridge, I'm a proud resident. I don't know many people here. That's a good thing because it means I'm not complaining about anything. If I did have something negative to say, I'd be at more meetings. So hopefully you won't see very much of me because I am a happy camper, and I'm a proud resident of Burr Ridge, and I don't live in Hinsdale. Mickey, you asked me, that is my license plate. It says Hinsdale.
I love it.
And as long as I'm up here, I'll give you the quick history lesson. My great-grandfather, some of you know, is Henry Walbridge Hinsdale, and that's who the village is named after, and that's the way it is. The big thing about my great-grandfather is he never lived in Hinsdale. He never did, and that's the way it is. He was a produce wholesaler down at the market, and he was burnt out in the Great Chicago Fire. It did him in. It burnt everything. So he left us our name. He left us no land or no money, and that's okay. So anyway, thanks for everybody here tonight. I don't know much of you, but I'm glad you're here, and God bless you. I'm leaving the building now.
Thank you, appreciate it. And by the way, we do have a Mr. Burr Ridge that lives in Burr Ridge. I want you to know that. But we're glad to have you. God bless, thanks. like to address the board this time? Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. This is, of course, the omnibus vote. All items listed with an asterisk are considered routine by the village board and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed. Under minutes, we have 5A, approval of regular board meeting of June 27, 2016. 5B, receive and file Veterans Memorial Committee meeting of May 11, 2016. 5C, receive and file Veterans Memorial Committee meeting of May 25th, 2016. 5D, receive and file draft Restaurant Marketing Committee meeting of June 30th, 2016. Nothing under ordinances or resolutions. Under considerations, we have 8A, approval recommendation to award contract for purchase of replacement vehicle for Public Works Unit 26. That's for the aerial lift truck. Under 8B, we have approval recommendation to purchase replacement residential water meters fiscal year 16-17 for the water fund budget item. That is also 8C, approval recommendation to approve agency of record agreement with Prime Time Marketing, PTM, to coordinate marketing for the Restaurant Week event in September. Under 8D, approval recommendation to authorize the FMLA leave of absence for police officer John Boris. Approval of vendor list in the amount of $555,897.30 for all funds, plus $245,354.70 for payroll, for a grand total of $801,252.99, which includes special expenditures of $67,647 to DuPage Public Safety Commission for DUCOM quarterly shares, and $36,247.42 to State of Illinois Treasurer for German Church Road sidewalk extension. May I have a motion to accept the following items, to approve the following items on the consent agenda? That would be 5A, B, C, and D. 8A, B, C, D, and E as well.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Francis?
Yes.
Trustee Scapa?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Bolus?
Yes.
Trustee Pavesa?
Yes.
5-0.
Motion passes 5-0. Under other considerations for announcement, deliberation, and discussion. Anything else to be added? Seeing nothing. Any other residents who would like to address the board at this time? Seeing no one, reports and communications from village officials.
Just to let the board know that at the next board meeting, since I believe everybody's going to be here, I'm going to put the ordinance regarding the referendum on the agenda so that you can vote it up or down at that meeting. But I just want to let you know that it's coming.
Okay. Anything else? Now, are there any non-residents who'd like to address the board at this time? Dolores?
Several things I'd like to comment on. Dolores Caesar, former trustee. In reviewing the minutes of the June 13th board meeting, which was just the day before the village administrator was going on vacation, he asked that 6 additional items be added to the high priority goals. And the very first one was to ensure the viability of the village center. Now, I know you have heard me say a number of times that I was on this board for 14 years, and I heard the village administrator say dozens of times that it is not the responsibility of the village to ensure the success of a developer. Now, I don't feel that it's the village's responsibility to Opus to make that village center a success. The second item I'd like to comment on is to evaluate the need for alternative housing for young families and empty nesters. Now, I'd like to go back to an article that ran in the Tribune August 12th of 2015, which the article essentially was taking Highland Park to task for not moving fast enough on affordable housing that was supposed to be 10%. Nearly 68 communities, among them Highland Park, were found by the Illinois Housing Development Authority as having too little affordable housing and were required to create a proposal for how they might reach that level. Now, of those largely affluent municipalities, 40 of the 68, which is 60%, have chosen not to submit plans according to the IHDA. My question is, has this village ever submitted plans to the IHDA for affordable restricted age housing?
Yes, twice. We did originally, and then there was an update that we had to comply with, and we did.
And what percentage did you?
We don't have percentages in our plan. I'd be more than happy to share the plan with you, Dolores, if you'd like.
Well, according to this article, it's supposed to be 10% of the housing is supposed to be affordable. The problem is there really is not any affordable housing for seniors in the area. I've looked into it. There's one in Oak Brook, Mays Lake Village, one bedroom. One bedroom would barely hold all my village stuff. The same thing over here on Joliet Road. I can't remember the name of it. Joliet Road, a couple blocks east of Willow Springs Road. It's all one bedroom. They need larger housing than that. But there is certainly a scarcity for senior affordable housing. Thank you. Oh, when I was talking about Tom Needham, I neglected to bring up a story that Patricia told me at the visitation, which I shared with Steve before the meeting. And I noticed when I was in line at the visitation that there was a very nice family portrait. This was before they had all the grandchildren. And then as I was talking with her, I noticed there was another family portrait, but this was with all the grandchildren. And she told me that she had been trying to get everyone together for this family portrait, but with kids being home from college and in and out, it was very hard for her to schedule this. And I think she was dealing with a photographer in Orland Park. And she called him and she wanted to make an appointment for the day after Thanksgiving. And he told her, he said, well, I'm sorry, we'll be closed that day. Oh, she was just devastated because she had gone to all this work trying to get all the family together. And he said, well, how many will there be? And she said, 19. And he said, I'll open.
Ah.
Thank you, Dolores. On that note, I may have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Bolus?
Yes.
Trustee Pavesa?
Yes.
Trustee Francis?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Scalpa?
Yes.
5-0.
Once again, thank you again for joining us for tonight, and our hearts and prayers are with all the officers and families in Dallas, Texas affected by that, and our love and support and appreciation to police officers everywhere. God bless and good night.